Hey everyone, KF here. I get a lot of questions about how I go about making my nightly watch list. So I want to walk you through how I do that. Making watch lists is very important in preparing yourself for the following trading day or following trading week. So I would encourage everyone, obviously I make watch lists for my members and things, and it's definitely very helpful, but I encourage you personally as well to develop some watch lists so you can better prepare yourself for what to expect the following day. Now, when I look for stocks to put in my watch list, I get them from a few different places. There's three main areas. The first area is what were the previous trading days' biggest movers. We can go back and look and see how we feel about them, see if they, may continue into this next day. So that's the first place to look. And again, I'll get into details and show you how I go about doing that. The second place I like to look is after hours news movers. Which stocks released news in after hours the previous day, because very frequently those types of stocks are going to get continuation the following day depending on the type of movement and volume and attention they got, as well as what kind of news they got. So I'm going to talk about that more a little bit as well. And the third thing is there are certain stocks that I just kind of have in mind that I'm waiting to make certain moves, sometimes for weeks, months, even years. And so I kind of have a long list. I have multiple lists of stocks that I'm waiting and anticipating to do certain things. And when one of those stocks kind of reaches those levels that I'm waiting to do, then I will pull it up and make sure I'm ready for it as the closer it gets to those levels. So I make my watch list. This is just a Word document, not real exciting. And there's a couple different parts to my watch list. Obviously, the date for tomorrow, which is January 16th. And today's Monday. Market's closed for Martin Luther King Day. It's a special day, and one definitely worth thinking about your personal freedoms and things. He was a great person, did a lot for our country. Anyways, back to the watch list. The second part I have here is this futures section. Now, what are futures and why do I have it on my watch list, and where do I find them? Well, futures, they list three different indexes. We have the Dow Jones, we have the NASDAQ, and we have the S&P 500. Futures basically show the overall market sentiment for these three indexes and how they will do the following day. So as of right now, they're up a little bit, and people are bullish on these indexes going into tomorrow. So where do I find this information at? It's quite simple. This can be done by just going to Google and typing in US futures. You see the website here, money.cnn.com. You could find this information on other websites as well, but it's really not too tricky. You just head to Google or whatever you're searching it in is and type in US futures, and you'll be able to find this information. Now, this is good information because it gives you a good idea of the overall market sentiment right now. What's happening, some interesting news articles, potentially. If you want to get really interested into world markets, what are the markets in Asia doing, currencies and things like that. As a day trader, though, you typically aren't overly concerned with those, but just know those tools are there, and it is worth learning more about them and seeing and starting to tie together how that ties in with the overall market sentiment. So here are the U.S. futures. That's where I get that information from. Now, let's talk about this next stock, ITUS. Now, what made me want to put this stock on my watch list here? Let's get in here to the ThinkOrSwim platform. This is the ThinkOrSwim platform. This may look like a total mess. And I understand if this is your first time seeing this, this can look really messy and confusing. I have a whole bunch of different stocks. I have 8 grids up, and I actually have multiple monitors, so I actually use multiple grids, way more than this. But let me show you how I ended up finding the stock. You may have seen my other YouTube video that helps me scan for low float movers. And so all I do here, it was the weekend when I made this. I just come back and look at my scan. And you'll see here, these are the stocks. I have them in order from highest volume to lowest volume. These were all big movers on Friday, okay? And so how I set this up here is I have some live news. I have a live news box here, and I have a quick chart box here. Now you'll notice both of these are blue. See how there's a blue 3 here and a blue 3 here? Now the reason I have that is because anything I type in here, let's say I'm starting with my size, I just want to go down and see how some of them are reacting. Anything I have there, I can type in my size, click enter, and it'll automatically bring up this chart below. You'll see I have these all marked up because this stock is actually also on my watch list. I usually look at them on the 5-day candle there, 5-day chart there. So I can just real quickly type my size. Okay, next SGRP, next. Oh, that's an interesting chart. Maybe it's not an interesting chart. KODK, KODK, oh, that's interesting. It's starting to curl a little bit. MARA, what's happening here? All these different things. So this is how I can real quickly just kind of go through some of these big movers from the day before and filter through which ones I want to target on. So ITUS is, I found doing this. I saw this and thought, this is interesting. This is a stock that's been on my watch for a while. I know this stock pretty well, and I know these levels pretty well, and this is one that I just actually kind of remembered 430 being an important level. And so when I saw it get denied here again at 430, I was like, oh wow, this is worth really taking a look at. So I zoomed out a little bit, looked a little closer into here, and I actually had this all marked up from when I played this back here, and I remember 430 being an extremely critical level of resistance. So started analyzing, looking at this chart a little more. I really like this curl and cup and handle that it's kind of forming here. You'll see way back here, let me zoom in a little closer right here. You'll see this was high of day going way back to September 28th, and you may think, oh, that's not really significant. Well, in reality, it is a pretty big deal. So anyways, that's what made me get looking at it. I was using my scan. These are Friday's movers, and so I was using my scan, and I got into this and I started analyzing it. Now you'll see another portion that I have here is I have the share float. I always have these on my stocks in red. What is the share float? Share float is really important to know because of basic supply and demand principles. Share float is how many shares are available to be traded on any given trading day. This is different from shares outstanding. I have an educational blog within my chat room, a document that I wrote up about this, so go check that out within the chat room if you want more information on that. But the lower float a stock has, the more volatile and as well bigger moves that it has the potential to make. So low floats are definitely something that I want to keep my eye on. I would definitely consider this a low float. Now, where do I get this float information? Well, let's go back here and let me tell you about a wonderful website called FinViz, finviz.com. Now, finviz.com is not 100% accurate. There's quite a few different sites that you can look up floats, and they may differ from site to site, but I found that finviz.com is a very reliable source when looking up float information. So to get more precise details on a float, you're just going to head up here to the search bar, type in the stock symbol, and press enter. And it will bring you up all this lovely information on the stock, give you a nice view of the long-term chart, and it's very. And of course, if you're not a premium member, you'll get some ads here. So you can sign up and be a premium member. I'm not. I just use their free version, and it works well for me. And so this is where you get all this information. You'll see right here, share float. Share outstanding is about 14 million. Share float is closer to 13 million. All right, so you can get tons of awesome information, insider transactions, insider ownership, all these types of things. Really good information here from finviz.com. So anyways, that's where I get the share float. I just rounded up to 13 million there. And there's my share float. I then love to mark up my chart, as you'll see here. Let me show you some of the tools that I use to mark up my chart. Let's use ITIS here. This is another really important thing. You'll see I have the 8 grid setup here. What I love to do, if you click on this box right here, go to maximize cell, it'll then make that box the full size of your screen. If you want to go back to normal, you need to click on these and go back to your 4x4 or whatever system you're using to bring that up. So did I mess that up? I usually do. No, I'm right. I do the 4x3. Anyways, so that's how you can zoom in here. I really like this tool. I use this a lot when I'm trading. So if I'm trading, I can then bring up the active trader, things like that. Time and sells really quickly, and it's nice, plenty big on my screen. Bring up level 2s as well. So anyways, that's kind of a side note there. So let me show you how I mark this up. This is what I'm interested in here, so I'm going to narrow down this time frame a little bit and start looking at this chart. Now you'll see I've noted 2 important levels of resistance. We have 430 resistance from Friday, and then 450 was just secondary resistance, which was highs. I believe I said this was 430 resistance from before, and so I apologize. I was wrong about that. It's actually 450 secondary resistance I saw on this. So how to make these lines, I come up here, there's a drawings box here. Go to drawing tools. If I use this, it will give me a real nice price level tool. I can just write this price level. It'll just be straight across, really nice. That's what I use for a lot of these. If I'm more interested in drawing like a trend line, like if I want to kind of illustrate that this stock is cup and handling, I'll use this tool, and I can draw, kind of goofing up a little bit here. I can draw these trend lines, however I want, just to show, this has a real nice cup and handle formation forming here, or things like that. Other things I do for my text box here, you go to drawing tools, click on this big T here, and this is where you can go in and, make your notes, watch for breakout over 450, things like that. And there's some cool things you can do with this. Click on edit property, right click on this box, click on edit properties. You can change the color of it. I can make it pink if I want. I can make it really small. I can make it really big, etc., etc. I can change where my arrow is at here. You see the arrows on the bottom of that text, but I can, I can change where that's at, bold, italic, whatever. So some pretty awesome stuff you can do here. ThinkOrSwim does a really good job. If you want to remove it, just right click it, remove drawing, and it's gone. So anyways, there's ITUS, which is the first pick on my watch list. Let's scroll down and talk about MYSZ. MYSZ, you can see I took advantage of that trendline tool to help illustrate the cup and handle that is forming. This is really a textbook cup and handle, so I really like what I'm seeing here on this cup and handle. So definitely keep this on watch for tomorrow. But similar thing, I also found this stock from my scans. As I was, filtering through them. It was the first one, MYSZ. And of course, this one is no stranger. This is one that's been really hot the last week with the CES conference in Las Vegas. They've gotten lots of press and things like that. So this has made a really nice run recently. So that's where I got that stock from. Avir. Now, this is one that I've just known about ever since they announced this merger. I actually got caught in some of these red candles. I got caught and was in trouble with some of this red candle. They announced the merger, went up to 135. I made a mistake, and the merger valuation put this at like $1.50 or $2, and I thought it was kind of just a no-brainer. This was way back in September, or I believe it was September or October. Anyways, I learned my lesson there. No such thing as a sure thing, but anyways, Friday they announced that the board approved the merger, and so that makes us very bullish. I think this has a great chance to retrace towards the $1 level. And so you'll see how I use these tools here. So this is a stock not that necessarily pulled up on scans or anything, but this is just a stock that I've just known about for a long time and have been waiting to reach certain levels and things. IMPX, another similar one. This is a stock we've traded frequently the last couple of weeks and is starting to really make a nice move. Watching this for the 36-cent breakout level. Again, you know how I get my share float, you know how I draw and do all these things on it. It can just really help as well to write your thoughts on it and what you're seeing, because you may be typing and saying, I'm seeing this and this and this, and then as you're typing, you're like, wait, am I really seeing that? And it can, it gives you more time to question yourself and really evaluate the stocks you're choosing and ask yourself if you're making the right decision and looking for the right levels on this. So you see here on IMPX, pretty clear why I have this 36-cent level as a breakout level. It was highs and after hours on Friday. It was also highs going back to Wednesday, I believe. It failed to break above those highs. It's a really critical level of resistance there, and it's forming a nice cup and handle formation here as well. We have quite a few cup and handle formations. This is even a cup and handle formation, this is even kind of forming a cup and handle formation. So actually had a ton of potential cup and handle plays here. And then, of course, MARA. This is a stock that I really got into. I'm actually in this, swinging this, and I really broke this down really carefully. And you see here, I made these gray boxes within the ThinkOrSwim platform, my prediction of what I think is going to happen. This broke above a bear flag pattern. If you're unfamiliar with the bear flag, you should definitely join our chat room, because we talk about these patterns and trends and stuff all the time. So this broke above the bear flag pattern, and I think this is going to be bullish for us over the next couple of days. So I hope this is helpful, gives you a little bit of insight to how I make my watch list, things I'm looking for, how I draw up my charts. And it's also really helpful. For example, let's go back to my charts here. Let me go back here. This may look like a mess. It works for me though. So you'll see this looks like nonsense from right here, but when you narrow in on the 1 day, 1 minute time frame, as this proceeds throughout the day, I can see when it's about to break over this critical level of resistance here at 430, and oh, it's getting close. All right, I want to trade this. Let's go maximize sell, active trader. Boom, I'm going to buy over 430. I'd go to my active trader here, put in a stop buy at 431. I'd have my brackets, of course, as hopefully you've seen my other YouTube videos. I explain how I do all that, brackets and things. You just go in here, template, percentages, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's really nice. And you get really familiar with this platform, moving really quickly like that. It's really awesome. Also, again, as I mentioned, I have multiple screens set up. So I don't do this all on one screen. You could, it would be tricky, but you could manage if you're just trading from a laptop. I'm not one that believes you have to have, the nicest desktop or nicest laptop or 15 screens to trade. I definitely think it is possible to trade from one screen. It can be a little hectic sometimes, but as long as you narrow in your search and things you're looking for, you can definitely do it. So I hope this is helpful about how I make my watch list. If you want to come check us out, check our chat room out, you can start a free 1-week trial. Just head to kafinvesting.com. Fill out this information. Make sure you put in a good email that works, because I'll email you the instructions to start your free trial. I'll email you the link to get in with us. Also, send me a message. What's your trading experience? What's your background? That helps me be able to help you more as we engage in personal one-on-one mentorship. So again, I hope this is helpful. I'm really excited for the week ahead of trading.